Everybody to the show. Yes, it's MHG's Power 30. Everything you've been asking for, it is now live. MHG's Power 30. Okay, so for all of those who don't know what it is, we're going to let you know. But first, we have to play you something. It's called a disclosure. It's part of this, and we have to have it played so that way you know what we're up against here. So that way we have it nice and clear to everybody. So we'll play that disclosure, and I'll introduce you to Thomas here in a second.
Radio station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon the information considered reliable. Although it should not be relied upon as such, any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Investments involve risk and unless otherwise stated are not guaranteed. Past performance cannot be used as an indicator to determine future results. Any strategies mentioned may not be suitable for everyone. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. Before acting on any information mentioned, please consult with the qualified tax or investment advisor to determine if it is suitable for your specific situation. This program is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to subject cover. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, LLC, BCM, a registered investment advisor. BCM and Norton Heritage Group are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BCM, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to paying ability of the insurance company and not offered by BCM. Index or fixed annuities are not designed for short-term investments and may be subject to caps, restriction fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract.
Whoa, that's a lot to say, isn't it, Thomas? So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Thomas, that's right, Thomas Martin. Thomas C. Martin.
Yeah, you got it.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, and he even matches his name. It's very formal looking man.
Yes,
and I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself for a little while, and then we'll get busy having fun with what you have to say.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to Henry. He's given me this opportunity to come on this show and talk finances. I know that was an extremely long disclosure, but I got to cover my, you know what, for investment options, or for investment issues rather. But my name is Thomas C. Martin. Welcome to MHG's Power 30. I am so excited to be on this show today to talk to you a little bit about financial education and some information that you can walk away with. I've been in the financial business for roughly about 20 years. On the securities and insurance side for the last 10. Worked with a few different wirehouses, been a full-blown financial advisor, an annuity broker, and a few other titles that I care not to really disclose right now. But I'm excited for the show. My company's been around since 2014. We started out as a financial literacy company, and now we are a full services financial firm. So we offer pretty much everything under the sun when it comes to financial services. I really want to, get on here and just educate the people that are listening. It's so interesting now because jazz is one of my genres of music that I studied in college, and it just worked out. I think it's kind of divine intervention that I'm here talking on this show today about finances, and at the same time get to listen to jazz. I was telling Henry that I have a trumpet. I have a trumpet that I got inherited maybe about a year ago, and it's in the shop. And I haven't played the trumpet since 5th grade, and I need to go get it. And next time I come on the show, maybe I'll play something. I'm terrible at it. But anyway, our mission for the show, for my company first, is to provide our clients with financial solutions to help them sustain and protect and grow their assets while increasing wealth building and wealth management opportunities in the communities we serve. For this particular show, my goal and my purpose is to build influence for MHG and spread awareness of financial vehicles that can help our communities build and manage wealth. So I know that's a mouthful, but like I said, it's just going to be some education, some things that you can walk away with and put into practice. If you can see, there's a on this screen right here, there's going to be my actual phone number. If you have questions throughout the show, please feel free to text me. I might not be able to get to your questions right now, but I can get you an answer in private, and we can go from there. So there's a template and a structure that I'll be following. I want you guys to kind of bear with me because this is my first show. This is the first time I've ever done this before, so there might be some nuances that I encounter. There might be some dry areas, but as we go and as we progress, I guarantee you that it's going to get better. So just want to kind of start out, as I start these shows, I want to talk a little bit about the markets and what they're doing. I'm going to cover the last month with the three major markets, just to give you a perspective of what's happening right now in the markets. I know COVID has impacted things, but last month we experienced, in the Dow anyway, the highest it has ever been. We crossed that 30,000 point threshold, which is incredible, right? But just to give you a perspective from the last 16 days, as close of business of yesterday to the first of the month, the Dow started out at 29,823 points, and as of last night, it ended at 30,154 points. So it was roughly about a 1.01% gain for the last 16 days, or pretty much half of the month. So if you're in the market, obviously you've seen some increases in your portfolio. In regards to the S&P, roughly started out at the 1st of December at 3662. Ended up last night at close of business at 3701. So again, mirrors the Dow a little bit, roughly about a 1.01% gain. The NASDAQ, same deal. It started out about 12,452 points, ended up at 12,730. Percentage change roughly about in the positive of 1.02. Those are the three major markets that I'm going to cover. So as you can see, we've all seen increases in our portfolios, in your 401ks and your IRAs, maybe even in some insurance products that are tied to the markets. And that's what we're kind of looking at going into next year. Right, we've been on a bull run in the actual markets for the last 10 years. Something that's pretty unprecedented in regards to market growth. I am a risk-based advisor, and what does that mean? That means that I look at controlling your risk. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a few seconds. But as my show is titled, are average returns what they cracked up to be? Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in the markets right now. Outside of that, last week, this is a financial show, so I'm going to give you 30 minutes of information about what's happening so that you can make educated decisions. Jobless claims were up about 885,000 people last week. Brand new initial jobless claims when it comes to unemployment. In regards to the stimulus, we're still waiting for that to happen. I know that the Congress is meeting right now. They've been working pretty hard to get that stimulus package passed. And we're hoping we can get something done by the weekend, or if not, early next week. So keep a lookout for that. I know I was talking to you, Henry, last time I was here. We did like a little review on the vaccine. I think that's important as well, what's impacting the markets as the vaccine gets rolled out strategically and people get healthy, and we can kind of curve the infection rate. You're also going to see that impact the markets as well in regards to optimism. So as we see that number go down, you're probably going to see some fluctuations in the market as well. Okay?
Do you feel like, just an interjection real quick, and
Go ahead.
we'll get back to it, to say, the markets. Now, there's a lot of people who don't run the markets, but they have their 401ks in there.
For sure.
Now, you talked about the 401ks. Do they fluctuate with the market as opposed to how much that it's making for them as they go forward with it?
Absolutely. Depending on how that 401k is allocated, it's obviously going to mirror some of the market. You can be spread across different asset classes if you're in the stocks. When you look at a lot of the different indices, for instance, the S&P, That is an index that is strictly stocks. You know, it's 500 companies, and it's equity based. So if your portfolio is mirrors that, then you're going to see a pretty close correlation with how the market goes, because your portfolio mirrors the S&P, for instance. But if you got some different asset classes to diversify your risk, let's say if you have some exposure to bonds to kind of balance out, you know, your risk, then you might not see that aggressive increase. You might not see that aggressive increase in your actual portfolio. So that's kind of how that is based. What I wanted to cover today is what our average returns cracked up to be. Okay, this is a whiteboard moment. I got a whiteboard behind me because I wanted to write some stuff down that you can actually take away, and this is really important for those who are really getting close to retirement. As you see the volatility in the market, you see the increase of some of the stimulus that's going to happen. You know, what's going to happen to taxes? All that can potentially impact your portfolio. But when you look at average returns, I want you to think about something. I'm going to talk about it first, and then I'll go in and write it on the whiteboard to illustrate it for those who are more visual people. But let's just say you had $100,000 and you put this money into the market on year one. Okay, the first year of the market, your portfolio gains 100% in returns. So what does that mean? That means that your portfolio goes from 100,000 to 200,000. Okay? Let's say year two, you're in the market, and then the market drops 50%. So now your portfolio goes from 200,000 down to 100,000. That's what you started out with, and it's 2 years later. Now, if you look at the average return, doing the math on that, you got 100% plus a minus 50. And then to do averages, you divide that by 2. So what is that going to equal out to? It's going to equal out to 25% average return for those 2 years. Now, is that reflected in your actual portfolio? It's not, right? It's kind of funny math. Let me illustrate it. So again, there's time. You have your portfolio. I'm going to write this in red because the market fluctuates. Goes up, goes down, and up, and then down. Let's say the first year, you put in $100,000, and then the market gains 100%. So that number goes to 200,000. This is year one. Okay? The second year in the market, your portfolio drops 50%. Okay? What does that result? That result is you go back down here to 100,000. This is year two. What did you gain? You're back where you started out in the first year, 2 years later. What if I told you that there were solutions in place or vehicles in place that can help you retain some of that 200,000, or maybe not get to the 200,000, but when the market actually decreases, when the market goes up, you maintain. When the market decreases, you actually don't lose anything. And then when the market goes down again, you stay the same, but when the market goes up, you gain. There are solutions out there that can help you accomplish that. And if you're close to retirement, this is something that you really want to consider. You want to consider maintaining that cash flow that you've accumulated. Now, let's say we extrapolate that out for 10 years, and your average returns are 8%. In 10 years from now, you started with 100,000, and your portfolio is maybe 115,000, but it says that you've averaged 8%. Is that really the truth of your portfolio? you want to put yourself in a position where you can actually maintain the cash and the accumulation that you've accrued over time versus losing all that in those market fluctuations.
Can I ask you something about bonds? Now, there is a difference in bonds, and if we can ask this, and I know a lot of people out there probably ask the same questions. There's government bonds, and then there's municipal bonds. There's all these variables. Which would you say fluctuates the most in your, your expertise?
Well, bonds are connected to the interest rates. So depending on, that's kind of a convoluted question.
That's what I'm saying. I totally answer you.
Well, when you're dealing with different types of bonds, it's really going to be depending on how the interest rates fluctuate, and also the length of the actual bond. 30-year bonds versus a 10-year bond. 30-year bonds are going to be more sensitive than what a 10-year bond would be, because as interest rates fluctuate, the time of that bond, the duration of that bond is a lot longer. So that can really impact portfolios. Right now,
that interest rate is at record lows, though.
Yes.
So how do they pay that off? I mean, at 0.5% for 30 years, or
Right.
locked in?
Right. No, it's not locked in. The price of bonds, as interest rates fluctuate, the price of bonds go up and down.
Yes.
And depending on what you locked in initially, then that municipality or the government bond or corporate bond, whatever it is, they're locked in until that actual interest rate that they're going to pay over that period of time. Now, if you hold that bond for 30 years, then they're liable to pay you for everything for that 30-year period of time. But a lot of people, they don't hold those bonds that long. They sell those bonds. They sell those bonds, and as the market, as those bond prices fluctuate up and down, they try to go in and sell it when they can get a profit. And if they can't, then some may hold on to it, depending on their financial needs. Everybody's different, Right. So definitely, you would want to visit with your advisor.
And you're one of those type of individuals.
Absolutely.
So, phone number down here. You can text him, and if you can read that, everybody can read it, because we have it flowing back there. It's scrolling text. You can get his text, and you can text him and find out how you can do this yourself. Your company is?
Martin Heritage Group. We're based here in the beautiful state of Colorado. However, we do business in multiple states throughout the U.S. So depending on where you're at, just give me a call or shoot me a text or an email. Please go to the website, Martin Heritage Group, LLC, subscribe. You can subscribe to our newsletter or even our blog post that we put out to stay informed about things that are happening in the markets, and then obviously what we can do for you as well. So wanted to also talk a little bit about, in these shows that I'm going to be doing going forward, I want to announce a term of the month. In this month, the term that I want to educate you on is what is a fiduciary?
I like that name. That word.
The name's the word.
I could be one.
Okay.
So that's why I say I want to be one of those guys.
Ladies, I think you are a fiduciary, though, Henry. I mean, I think you are.
You've been listening to, you hear a lot of stuff that goes on. You think, whoa, this guy is tripping, boy.
Well, in my space, in the financial space, a fiduciary is someone that is held in trust or confidence. So when you're visiting with your advisor, maybe that's something that you want to ask.
And I was just going to say that to you about you. You're going to sit down with lots of people, and food and finances are two really touchy areas. If you mess with people's food at a restaurant, whatever, they get upset. Same with money. You go to a bank, whatever. Wait a minute, you shortchange. Wait a minute, and so you have to be really smooth about how you conduct yourself with.
Absolutely.
You got to respect what people think about their money, because some may come in with only $50,000. Some may come in with, I've got $5 million. I just sold the ranch.
For sure.
And so you've got to be able to put that money into proper perspective on what you're talking about. Is that correct?
For sure. I think that, that's one of the, behind if I'm, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this. Shoot me an email. But I think the financial industry is probably the most regulated industry in the country.
That's true. Yes.
I mean, people are sensitive about their money. The government is sensitive about money. Money can be emotional. So you obviously have to conduct yourself in a way that people can trust you. And obviously have a track record of success as well. I've been doing this for a while. I've been in a few different firms, and I kind of know the ropes. I've earned my stripes, if you will.
But I like the way you said that.
What's
I've earned
that?
My stripes.
I have. Yeah, I really have. But I'm a fiduciary, and when you think about a fiduciary, you want to think about does your advisor act in the best interest of you? Excluding commissions, excluding any benefits that they may have, are what they recommending you and advising you to jump into is in the best interest. I know I've had some clients that I've acquired where their advisor recommended extremely risky products, or maybe even now, with, for instance, I had a client that was she was invested in a bond fund that was tied to real estate, and because of COVID, hotel industry. Because of COVID, the bond fund just completely tanked.
And you're completely right about that. The hotels are suffering right now. They're at 50%, some at 30, some at even 20%.
Right.
And they've got these big facilities in which to maintain. And you're right. People have money invested in these models, and sometimes they come to you. Well, what you said? Oh, you can't. You got to just explain to them this is not. This is just the market.
Sure.
And I'm sure they understand, because you have the know-how on which to conduct yourself to let them know how this happened.
For sure. And in my firm, what I do in my firm, I use a risk-based approach. It's similar to the speed limit. If zero, if you're going 0 miles an hour, you're in cash equivalents. If you're going 100 miles an hour, because getting to retirement can be a really windy road. If you're going 100 miles an hour, that's kind of like Bitcoin. How fast are you going in your portfolio and what age? If you're 50, depending on your risk tolerance and your appetite and what your goals are, you may want to kind of, pull back a little bit on the gas, let your feet up a little bit to moderate some of that risk. So what I do is I sit down with each of the clients and I go through a risk assessment, and after we discuss that risk assessment, we look at the different options that are available to them based on their financial goals. So and I would say that's what a fiduciary is supposed to do. Recommend the right things that client is really trying to accomplish.
And everybody's treading waters right now, correct? And so how to. I don't know if you were doing this around the 2008 financial collapse, and everybody's losing their 401ks. Everybody's losing all this money because the bank collapsed, which is really scary. And I'm sure now everybody has these safeguards in place in which to keep an eye on these kind of things. And so, like you said, the real estate industry and all these different variables are having trouble because of the COVID. It's the market is rocking right now.
For sure. Sometimes, you couldn't really see that coming. You could, but, it happened so fast.
Yes.
It happened so fast, but, the interest rates were low. The banks were loaning out money on those mortgages, and everything just kind of fell. It was a domino effect. And obviously a lot of people's portfolios were impacted. People lost their savings. They couldn't retire if they were thinking about retiring during that time. They had to go back to work. But those who were younger and could ride that wave, if you will, their portfolios are performing right now. We've been on a 10-year bull run right now, so they're seeing we're at the top of the market, right? Can it go higher? Who knows, right? It possibly can. But if you're at the top right now, if you feel like you've gained back and your portfolio's doing well, then you might want to have that conversation about maintaining what you have. and maintaining what you have, because there's an opportunity that it can decrease, and you can lose what you have, and you're right back at square one again.
And Thomas brings you a lot of momentum here with his first show to give you an idea of what he's going to be bringing in his new shows that as we go forward with this. And Thomas, one other thing, this is important, I'm sure a lot of people want to ask this question, I'll do it for them, is the change of the president. And we all know that can cause the bull market, or it can cause a lot of things to fluctuate quickly. So as you see it go on, tell us what is your thoughts. We're not holding you to any strategic methods or anything like this, it's like, but we know, and a lot of people ask these questions.
I think, I was actually reading an article today from my firm about that, and the historical analysis of the change of the presidencies over the last several presidents. It's actually been, it's not as volatile as you think.
Right, and like it used to be.
It's not as volatile over even the last several presidents. I think that this one was really interesting because obviously there's a lot of things that are going on in the country right now. We have a pandemic, some of the social issues that we are experiencing as a nation. You would think that there would be some extreme volatility, and that wasn't the case. I mean, the market it shot up.
Yes.
We got our highest level of the Dow in ever.
And me and my friend argued. He's a Republican Mama Dem.
Uh-oh.
And so we go,
see what this guy's trying to do to me right now?
I'm not, but we would argue back and forth. He goes, well, it's staying up there. I go, it doesn't matter who's in there. Sometimes the market stays put. That's what we're talking about. He goes,
sure.
oh no, it's not the president. It's the.
Oh.
I mean, it does have some variables.
For sure.
And he would go back and forth. He says, no, it's got to do with the press. He's kept it. No. Just like what you just said. It stays kind of fluctuate. It just stays kind of the same in the past couple of presidents, like you said.
It has.
And that's what that was my argument with him. And now so if you're listening, Albert in Oklahoma,
and I'm gonna circle right back to what I was stating earlier. It's just good to just take a risk-based approach to how you invest. What are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable with the market pulling back 10 to 15%? If you have $100,000 and you lose 15,000, are you comfortable with that? But having the potential to gain 25%. So are you comfortable with that margin? And then that's how your portfolio should be allocated. Obviously, it's all projections. We don't know what's going to happen. The market can drop 50%, but if you're 100% in stocks and you drop and you have $100,000 there and it drops 50%, you just lost 50 grand. So you may not want to be 100% in stocks. You may want to be diversified and have your money spread across different asset classes. Did you have a question?
No, Power 30. Now this show is going to continue on. You got a little bit right now, and the show's about done.
Is it? Oh my gosh, it really is.
We're going to go ahead and end with a few words right now, so Thomas can let you know about what he wants to talk to you about. But go ahead, Thomas, and then give us your last thoughts, and make sure and get on again. And we'll talk about that when you can get on again. His number's down here. You can read it in the scroll. You can text Thomas. You can go to his website, like you can see on the back side here, and get to his website, his firm, and get a hold of Thomas. So, Thomas, give us some last thoughts and some things.
I can't believe it went that fast. So, yes. So, wanted to say thank you for taking some time out to listen to me today. Two things I do want to plug. Obviously, go to MartinHeritageGroupLLC.com if you want to, schedule a time to have a conversation. There's some buttons on there that you can click, and you can actually schedule some time. Check out Martin Heritage Group, Understanding Your Finances Workbook. As well, if you need some help on finances, I think that can really help you. I want to leave you with some inspiration. Before I do that, though, the next show will be on January 21st. We're going to run with the third Thursday of the month for the whole year. I'm going to be discussing different types of ideas and education each time I'm on this show that I think that you can walk away with. I watched Mulan the other day, and incredible show. There was a line in there that stuck out to me. It says, courage cannot persist if fear doesn't exist. In order to have courage, fear has to exist. So those who are fearful, it's okay sometimes. to be scared to do something. In fact, me doing this show was something unusual. I've never done anything like that. But sometimes you just got to stand up and walk and go forward regardless of the circumstances and go forward. So I want to leave that with you for inspiration. I think we're going to play some Roby Roberson, Remembrance. I look forward to talking to you guys in the future. Shoot me a text, give me a call, an email, and I will chat with you soon. Have a great afternoon.
I gotta tell Thomas this is a great show. Make sure to stick around for the next show. This is well done. 30 minutes flew by. He said a lot. Information here. His text is down here. You're welcome to jot it down. Questions you want to get some of if there's some improvements or something that, let me know. Shoot a text or something to me, how I'm doing. Ladies, ladies don't be
like a
hey, no.
Like a check-in. I want them to, check in with me to see how I'm doing, because this is the first thing. It's the first show.
It came out nice, Thomas.
You think so?
So thank you for joining us. KUHSdenver.com. The new show, MHG's Power 30. Don't forget it. See y'all next time.